Hey, Dean, back down. See your performance. Um, Today, doing a quick update on Chris's Mustang, the Capri. Sorry. Um, so what we got is where we left off was the back floor was cut out. So we went ahead and we got most everything finished up in the back end. There's a few little things left to tidy up, but get some of the junk out. Well, it's not really junk, but we got the floor tin all done. Got both mini tubs are in. I went ahead and I bead rolled a couple of beads in the tin to kind of stiffen it up so it's not as tingy. It's nice and solid. I got the seam sealer. We're gonna go around and clean up some of the welds a little bit. We'll seam seal all the joints and then get it cleaned up good, get a coat of primer on it. I also got the fuel cell mounted in the rear. I kind of did, I think I had said it before. Turn the light on. I did some 1x1 square tube, and I went from frame rail to frame rail. Built a cage under the fuel cell to where the tabs on the fuel cell are now sitting on the bars. There's a couple spots that need to be finish welded, but the mounting bolts now come through. I capped off the ends of the tubes, and then over there it actually gave me enough room to mount the transmission cooler with the fan. I just bent up a couple of aluminum tabs, and I have some tin over there that's kind of rotted away. I did cut along the back. There's like a piece that comes down. It doesn't really attach to anything once you cut the floorboard out. So I took a piece of 1 inch and I notched it for the frame rail, like the top where the frame rail has the pinch weld. Notched it so it sits flush to the existing floor, and then I ran it all the way across the back from frame rail to frame rail, and I MIG welded this back tin to it. MIG welded the whole cage in, and then the front mounts directly to the bar for the fuel cell mount that runs again from frame rail to frame rail. Again, there's a few welds that need to be made up, and then I got his return is down in here. Needs to be P-clamped in a bunch of spots all the way up. He brought up a ton of stuff. He brought up all of the dash 16 line and a bunch of fittings for the icebox. I already got the fittings threaded into the tank, and then I went ahead and I made up the end of the line there. So I'm going to mount the ice tank there. Once I get it seam sealed and primed, I'll finish mount the ice tank, and then he's got these like 30-degree fittings that'll come off the ice tank, and then I plan on making like aluminum clamp brackets to go around the hose, and we'll run both hoses right on the transmission tunnel. Clamp them together. We'll go under the shifter and then go up to the firewall where he has the Motion Raceworks like pass-through piece, that's a pretty cool piece. You get ORB. Those are ORB. They have like an O-ring. They're straight cut threads, so they just thread all the way in down to the O-ring. Those ones are in and tight. I got to do the ones on the other side and then finish bolting that piece in. I don't have all the nuts and bolts on it yet. I just kind of left it loose. And then I got the ORBs threaded in on the Shearer Fab intercooler. What I do recommend on these fittings is if you thread them in dry, you'll notice they're sort of chunky, if that's how you want to call it. They feel like they want to cross thread quite often. So what I have somewhere laying around, oh, it's just a regular, you pick it up at Lowe's or whatever. It's pipe joint compound. I use the Odie. It's a good brand. I use it in all my plumbing jobs and never have any leaks. But you put a little bit of that around the fitting on the threads, just a thin coating on the threads, and you will notice there's a vast difference. You'll be able to walk that fitting all the way down to the O-ring pretty much by hand, with some ease. Rather than it being dry, you'll notice you'll get it in, there'll be a tight spot, and you got to kind of force it past the tight spot sometimes. Becomes a pain in the butt, and it almost makes you think you're going to screw the threads up, which they're aluminum threads, so you can easily kind of start to gall them up. And there's been some cases where we've put, somebody's brought us something that somebody has threaded together, and we go to take the fitting out, and it'll start to walk out, but then it'll actually do like a reverse cross thread. The fitting will have galled itself going in, but it'll go in, not cross thread, but then on the way out, the galled threads kind of take over and do their own thing, and it screws everything up. We got the snake eater injectors all in. Big shout out to Brad for getting me yet another set of badass injectors. Those are his Deka EV1 1500s, and they fit the Holley high ram perfect. The other style, if you wanted to go on the lower mount, I believe is like the LS7 style. It might be LS3, but I believe it's the LS7 style. I think it's on Holley's site. They tell you the tall, which is the Deka style, really tall one, or the LS3 or LS7. I'm not 100% on that one. Started getting the radiator hoses done. Basically just got some silicone couplers with T-bolt clamps. I got two 90s for the upper, and one is a reducer fitting. I believe that one there is 1.5 to 1.25 inches, and that fits good on the water pump, with the T-bolt clamps, which are, this one's still loose, 49, 43. I don't know what that means, but usually there's a size on them. Oh, these are like, these will go like, I think these will do 1.25 to 1.5 or something like that. Because I've got the same clamp here, over the 1.5, and you can see the nut is all the way out, and it's fairly snug on the hose. But then you got the 1.25 up here to where you have a lot of thread sticking out, and the clamp is almost bottomed out, but you can see it's pinched good and tight. It's hard to focus, but you can kind of see a little bit of a bubble where that knurl is in the factory fitting. You can kind of see it there. Yeah, you can kind of see that knurl there. It's the same knurl out here. You can feel it. It's tight. It's not over squishing, so that fits tight. And then the bottom, I believe this side is 1.5 inches. Yeah, he has a different fitting. He got the straight adapter, like thermostat housing adapter. He's got a straight, so it makes it different. The factory one is more like a 2-inch, I believe, but this is 1.5 inches, and then it goes down to the lower on his radiator. You can see way down there, which is 1.75 inches. So we have a coupler coming, another 90 coupler, so it's just going to be a 90 to a 90, and then in between the two couplers on that one, I use this aluminum tubing here. This is aluminum pipe, actually. It's not tubing, which it measures. It measures 1.5 OD and 1.25 ID. So it has a good 1/8 inch wall. This is a good strong pipe. I have it all on my S10, and you only need like, you know, a 4-inch piece to go in between the two couplers, 3 to 4-inch piece. I like to cut it kind of long and get it up in there. It's up to about here, you know, and then it's down to right there. So it's probably about a 4-inch piece that I cut and put in there. And you will find that you don't need to, I mean, it doesn't hurt to kind of weld a bead around the end of the pipe to give it something from slipping off. But you'll find with these silicone couplers, they're really sticky inside. So when you push the pipe in, oh, and I'm sorry, this fitting is the 1.25 to 1.5, and then this is straight 1.5 to 1.5. So that pipe fits in there perfect, 1.5. But you'll find that once you shove that in, it's very hard just to pull it off, even without a clamp on it. So when you clamp it down good with those T-bolt clamps. Don't use worm clamps, they're garbage. That it will not come apart. I have the whole S10 plumbed that way. Like I said, mine's a rear mounted radiator, and I have 2 long pipes that run all the way up from the back to the front. There's one coupling on this side because I rolled the tube to go up and over the cross member. But every single one of them, I just did exactly the same thing. I just got the silicone couplers, and that one's even too big. You can kind of see how it's like blown out like a trumpet. But squishing it down on there, and it works perfect. That one down there, there's no lips on any of the aluminum, and I've yet to have any leaks, knock on wood. Then we also got the dash 10 hose and fittings to run all his fuel line, actually just his feed. The return is done, it's run from the tank, comes all the way up to the bottom of the regulator. Again, just got to P-clamp everything. I got the pressure transducer in the regulator, and then I made the line, the return line from the rail over to the regulator. I got to move the regulator over a little bit, mount it again. Then I got the ICT billet adapter, oh come on, focus, for the back of the Holley intake, and I put a 1/4 inch, I believe it's 1/4 inch MPT to dash 4. Come on, focus. And then I have a 90 with this dash 4 line coming over, and he has this Motion Raceworks, like a vacuum block, vacuum distribution block. So he has this. So what I'll do is I'll probably get like this 3/8 MPT to dash 4. I believe that, yeah, I'll swap, figure out where to mount it, maybe like somewhere like here. We'll mount that and do that 3/8 to dash 4 in this end, and then the Holley, I believe it's a 5-bar map sensor is on its way. And then he's got for like his blow off valve, and pressure regulator, his fuel pressure regulator. I believe that's all the vacuum on this car here. So that'll be a nice piece. Cap off, you can cap off. There's a ton of ports. There's 8 ports, 10 altogether, but there's 8 1/4 inch and 2 3/8. So it's pretty neat. It's a pretty nice piece. But you just cap off the ones that you don't need. Don't leave them open. It won't help you. There's all the dash 16s for the intercooler. So his car, oh, he brought the torque converter. He's got a, I believe it's a PTC. I mean, that's what the box says. Yeah, so it is a PTC. I think he had Dusty Bradford. Check him out on Facebook, Dusty Bradford. He's probably, in many people's opinion, he's the best guy to spec a torque converter for your setup. So that's what Chris went with. I'm not sure what converter he went with, what stall it is. I'm not sure anything like that. Hopefully he'll watch the video. He can comment in there, and I could be completely wrong. Maybe it's a Hughes. Who knows? No, it's a PTC. But and then I got the Terminator X ECU. I got that mounted on his nifty handy dandy Motion Raceworks bracket, a roll bar bracket. So another neat piece that has these slots cut into the clamp, so you can take the bracket and rotate it 90 degrees. So I kind of mounted it so it's in line with the bar. And then I routed his main harness behind the roll bar, strapped the relay and the fuse up against there, came behind the roll bar and plugged it into the ECU. And then I got the main power harness and clipped it in, ran it up and over again. I did just self-tap these fuse into the side, P clamp, and then came up and in to there where his battery cables are run. We'll get a couple more P clamps or zip ties, and it runs all the way up and over the tubs into the back. Oy! Comes out here. Plenty of harness left over to get mounted or get wired directly to the battery. These go directly to battery. They do not go anywhere else other than directly to the battery. So I'll get that put in. I got to get the box mounted. He brought the box or the battery. He had the box was here already. I don't even know what's in this bag. Maybe his lunch, he left it. I'm not sure. But oh, it looks like some of the dash 10 is in there. Yeah, it looks like a bunch of the dash 10 is in there. So that's just more fuel line. There's the snake eater boxes there. I save every box for parts that you have or whatever, but that's pretty much it. Oh, that light is bright. That's pretty much it for Chris's Capri. The update for now, but I'm working on it steadily as much as I can. Bunch of stuff going on, so we'll have to sit back, wait. But we are very, very close on firing his car up. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. We're plugging away as hard as we can, as much as we can. We're gonna have some videos coming up on the S10. A couple things we're gonna be doing with that. And then another shop project that we have is the Escalade in the back. We have a big project coming up on that. It's kind of a big undertaking. So hopefully we could start on that pretty soon. Once we get all these guys cleared out, get them happy, we'll be plugging away on the S10 and on the Escalade. So I appreciate you watching. Give me a like, subscribe, hit the bell to be notified. Thanks a lot. Have a good day.